Okay, what do we got today? Let me get back here.
Cell phone?
Weather, 74 degrees out. That's pretty nice. You lose your phone?
Yeah.
You might be sitting on it.
No, you picked it up so I wouldn't sit on it, and then I forgot what I...
Well, I might be sitting on it.
Whatever.
It had to be one of us. All right, hello YouTube. We're going out to Zanesville today, and the only reason for that is there are no Denny's in Columbus. And it's not that I would eat at a Denny's if there was one in Columbus, but there's one in Zanesville. So you have to fly to get there. I've got Pete with me today. You've probably heard about Pete. He's the guy that, he is so rude. He just interrupts me constantly. Pete is the guy that was responsible for building about half of the airplane, or being present. No, that's not true. Helping with the building of the second half of the... Oh, you tell him. I think I was about halfway along.
Yeah, so helping with the second half. I was just extra hands.
Yeah, now how did you... I don't really remember how you even found me because so many people have. Was it vans or was it just...
Yeah.
That you call them up and they knocked me out?
I Googled something and found you.
Yeah. Yes, I am eminently Googleable. Yeah, in good ways, right? It's like, not the offender list and such forth. All right, well, they're landing and taking off 2-2, which works for me because that's the shorter walk, and we're going to head southwest anyway, so that works out well. I don't wait for all the weather to come in because there is no weather to be seen today. Do I have a destination in? I do not. We have to go to map, direct, and we're going to Zanesville, which is zebra. This is the Z flight. We're going from TZR to ZZV. A lot of Z's in there. They're going to be snoozing the whole way. 57.6 miles, so a little more than half an hour. We're 85 on the oil, so we can probably taxi since we're only going runway 22 and all that. Let me get that direct in there. There we go. So we know where we're going. All right. Well, we're going to call the tower, roll on down to the runway, do the run up, and then we'll turn you back on. Talk to you later. Bye. And let's get back on tower. There we go. We're all set. Sure the nose wheel is straight. Otherwise, he tells you can go and then you can't because your nose wheel is canted. That's where that word comes from. Little known fact. Recently, I'm sorry. Did I say little known? I meant recently invented fact.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. What am I doing? Departing 22 Alpha 1. Okay.
Full tower experimental 284 Delta Golf ready for takeoff runway 22 at Alpha 1 departing VFR eastbound.
4 Delta Golf Bolton tower runway 4 correction runway 22 rather clear for takeoff eastbound departure approved.
Clear for takeoff runway 22 with an eastbound departure 4 Delta Golf.
Camera on?
So I wonder if he would have taken us down the 4. If it was anybody but me. My special privileges. Now by yesterday I had this thing off the ground at about 500 feet. But today is going to be, I had a nice breeze. Let's see what happens today. See, yesterday the nose was up by now. There we go. You'll have to ask Keith if his T-38 can climb out with a 15-degree pitch angle. Probably with the afterburners, but I'm not so sure. That's not a super powerful airplane. I did his final check ride. Yeah, which is good.
Now he has to get 50 hours in, so they're trying to get him to fly all the time.
Trying to?
Yeah.
What, he's objecting?
No, it's not difficult, believe me. He's very excited about it, actually.
T-38's my dream plane. He can have the B-2. I'll take the T-38. There was a YouTube when he flew up. We flew up to Port Clinton. I have a video of that. That's when we were talking about being behind the tanker in a KC, being behind a tanker in basically a 707 with an E3 AWACS. How much stuff I never really expected. He said you had to be very, very careful on the bank because a little bit of bank lifts a spoiler. A little too much bank lifts an aileron, and that's drag. And all of a sudden you're yawing off to the side, you're losing speed. So you're very, very gentle on the roll control. I thought that was fascinating. I would have never considered that. Don't know how much I'll hear about the B-2.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's need to know, and you don't need to know.
They won't let him take the books home to study.
Yep, I'll imagine. I mean, I looked at he sent me the NATOPS guide for the T-38, and I mean, they must just do nothing but that for every single, well, they got additional duties. I don't know how you squeeze that in. He's only been doing it a month or two, seems like to me anyway. And I mean, T-38's a complicated airplane, so I can't land the damn thing on my simulators. I just can't land it. Get in too high, pull the throttle, pull it too far, don't get it back down. Bonk.
If he comes next week, maybe you can invite him over and have him show you.
Try a PR.
If he comes, he's planning right now to spend Friday night here.
Oh, that'd be nice. It's fun in VR. I mean, that'd be a blast. I know a guy at the airport that used to fly Hueys, and I put him down with that DCS Huey, which is my real high fidelity one, and took him about 30 seconds to get the feel for it, and then he was flying. He says, "This is just right. You know, this is amazing." So,
nice.
Be interesting to get. Well, what I have is an F5, not a T-38, but essentially it's going to be the same as far as flying it. I don't know if the instruments will be the same or not. I don't know what era they picked to model, but that would be fascinating to see how well that measures up.
All right.
And let me get it all settled up. Okay, so we're all settled down. We're at a cruising altitude of 3,500. We're on track mode on the autopilot. You can adjust that thusly. You can see what that blue line is going to do. So we just kind of want to go that way until we're clear of the Class C, and then we're going to do another direct tube back to Zanesville. So I'm going to turn off the autopilot. You ready?
Yeah.
Your airplane.
Disconnect.
And let's throttle back a
Where's
little.
my horizon?
Well, it's right out there, or you can use this one right here.
Yeah, I wanted to use both.
That's what you should do. You definitely use. But when's the last time you were actually current? Decades, right?
Yeah.
All right. You'll find, I always had trouble with like 172s. They always seem to want to hunt around and pitch. You're just constantly chasing it. This one will settle down pretty nice. So really what you're probably, and we can go back to the 6-pack if you prefer the 6-pack over this.
I just don't know this, so a 6-pack would be easier.
I have to figure out how to do it again. PFD, mode, 6-pack. There you go. And the other thing we can do, we'll probably leave you the map, but we don't need to have, she's going to tell me if anything goes wrong. She'll say oil pressure or whatever. So we can turn off the EMS, and that gives you a little more screen to work with. So, is that working? Because now you have this.
Yeah, okay, so where's my heading?
120, 120, and we're just kind of working around like this. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can see where we're going. There, we're just gonna kind of circle around this Class C. It's easier. They tend to just not want to deal with it. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It's easier just to go around it. Path of least resistance for me. So yeah, you're good on altitude because it's a nice calm day. So you don't have anything trying to push you up or down. So that's going to work out well for you for just kind of getting used to it. You remember how to use an HSI?
No, I never had one.
Okay, it's a lot like, so you used to have the CDI where that needle went left to right.
Yeah.
What this does, it has this little segment that comes out.
Yeah.
So to make that line solid again, you want to be right on it, straight up and down. We don't want to do it yet because it would take us in here. But what's going to happen when we let's reset it. Okay, so I'm going to reset the, direct tube. Now see how that came back to be a solid line?
Yeah.
Actually, you can go ahead and turn onto it now. As long as you keep that segment in the middle, you're on course. If it starts to drift to the right, that means you got to go to the right to chase it. So you're just trying to keep that line as one solid segment line. Or you can just follow that one. One of these, I think this one is corrected, but it's not going to make it, well, we do have a wind, so there's going to be some wind correction. One of them actually handles your wind correction for you, one doesn't. I think this is the one that does, and this is the one that doesn't. This goes more with magnetic as opposed to track.
Where's my altitude?
Right there. Your altitude is 3,460. We're wanting 35. That's actually what I gave you. We weren't quite at 35, so you're holding it just fine. Now we can zoom in here just to make sure ensure that you got a little clearance from that edge. Your trim is right here, and it's very, very fast. So like if you wanted a little bit of trim up, it would just be punch it. You can feel how fast that went, right?
Yeah. This thing is feather control.
Oh yes, yeah, it's fingertip control. That's why I was telling you that don't worry about your legs being in the way. That's just, we check full clearance just to make sure it's not going to jam up on anything. We never actually use full stick. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. There we go. I'm going to take away your map for a second and get the Unicom dialed in. So the way I'm going to do that, the map button, you might as well start learning this too. Map, and then, what did I say I was going to do? I was going to look up information.
Unicom.
Info is your information. We want comms, so I'm going to push this once to the right. Unicom is what we want, so I'm going to put that down one, and then I'm going to tune, and it's going to tune into there, and then you can bring that active. Then we can go ahead, well actually there's not going to be an AWAS or an ASOS. We can try that and see if it's still working. Let's push that on over there too. No, it's not even going to let me tune it in. See how it disables?
Yeah.
So I think that means that's obsolete, don't even try it. So we're not going to, we don't need it. It's kind of unfortunate they tied that to a VOR though. And I don't really expect to hear much out of Zanesville this early in the morning. So we'll just leave that as is.
Are other planes showing on your ADS-B? What percentage of them do you see on it?
Not a lot yet. By 2020 I'll see all of them. It depends on the time of day. Like coming out of Ohio, I was up flying yesterday, and Bowling Green was busy, and Ohio State was busy because of the students flying, so those will pop up. And you'll see things come out of Port Columbus now and then, but you know, we're kind of, there's the weather. Now this is too far out to show me traffic. We wouldn't care. Oh boy, I'm glad I didn't want to go to Put-in-Bay today. Look at that.
Yeah.
Huh. I thought about it briefly, but I got to get back and work on that camper. So they'll be flying yet.
I was kind of hoping for Put-in-Bay.
Well, the other one I want to do, we can do this one too. I want to go to Burke Lakefront. We've not done that before, right?
No, but I have landed there. There's a landing fee.
Yeah. Oh, I know. What I want to do is get a lift and go to the West Side Market.
Oh, I love the West Side Market.
Yeah.
I used to go there all the time, but when I went there it was just food. Now it's more a restaurant.
Yeah. Well, either way, it's a little both. I looked at their website. But I wouldn't mind flying up there for that, but that was going to take most of the day. You're an hour and a half up, hour and a half back, and then whatever, 3 hours up there, and I got to get on that camper. But that's a trip I do want to take. I prefer that over Put-in-Bay on a weekend. Now, if you want to go to Put-in-Bay, we can do that on a weekday. I remember last year you had something you were doing that was eating up a lot of your time. But I'm free. I mean, I work in the kitchen. I try 4 days a week. I usually take Friday off. But even on, other than Thursday, I'm usually done by 9 or 9:30. And that's plenty of time to get started up towards Put-in-Bay. So
that'd be fun.
We can do that.
Oh, I'd love to do it.
Okay. I always struggle with people's schedules because most of the people I know work.
Like Brad, we tried to, it's going to be hard to find a time, but he definitely would love to go with you.
Yeah, I can squeeze. I mean, I live right by the airport, and he's just asking for a ride.
Yeah.
I think with you, I wanted to take trips, and I want to get you to where you can fly left seat. Because what I'll fly out and then you fly back is the kind of thing I like to do. I like flying out when the air is calm. I make you fly back when it's bumpy. You know, there's something in it for me. There they are. There's some traffic.
Okay, what are their altitudes versus us?
He's 300 feet below us, so he's down at 3,200. I don't know why 3,200 is kind of a weird choice, but under 4,000 you can do anything you want. You know, it's 3,000 AGL. You can do anything you want. So he's the other guy just disappeared. Don't know where he went, but he was 1,200 feet below us. So he's kind of getting down to where what's happening here. Where this is coming from is not ADS-B. If it was ADS-B, I'd have their end numbers. Mm-hmm. This is coming from TIS, and what that is, their transponder is going down to Port Columbus, and Port Columbus is broadcasting it back out again. So that's how I'm picking them up. So down in southeast Ohio, where you don't have a major airport, this will not work until 2020 when everybody has to have ADS-B. Well, actually, even out there, they won't have to have it. They only have to have it to get anywhere near, the Class B, C, and D and all that. So even out there, you may still run into planes that don't have it. There he is. So he's down at 2,000. That's 1,000 AGL, so he's just flying down low.
Madison County.
A lot of times those are small planes like Piper Cubs or things like that where it's really fun to fly down low. They're doing about the same speed. This one's just a titch slower. You go by the length of the orange arrow.
Oh, I got it.
And it looks like we may be catching up with them just a wee bit. Even though we're only indicating 96, which is, I have the engine down to 5,000 RPM, so we're not going very fast. But we have about a 9-knot tailwind. So we got 111 knots across the ground on 97 indicated. It's pretty good. Well, true airspeed's 104 and we're doing 112 across ground, so we have about an 8 knot tailwind. Yeah, see how we're just catching up with that guy. Now he's just he's down at 3,000 now. And he'll be, he's still about 6 miles away. No, he's inside 5 miles. He'll be very hard to find. He's going to be, at 500 feet below, he's going to be right in that haze layer.
Yeah.
And it's probably painted white. You would paint airplanes so that they disappear into the haze. Hey, you're not having any trouble with this at all. You want to make some turns or anything, feel free. If you want to get a feel for actual turning.
It's been so long since I flew. I'm just happy I can hold it fairly straight level on a calm day.
We can work towards that, and if you want to, there are lots of YouTubes. Dynan has put a lot of just how to do a flight plan, how to work, just very basic, how to work the Skyview. Or you can just do it like I did it, just do it by doing it. But you definitely need to know how to work this thing.
Yeah.
It's not complicated once you kind of get a feel for what they're trying to do with it.
What's our distance to Zanesville?
We are 19 minutes and 35 miles out. Now these will not often be identical. This is to the next waypoint, but since it's a direct to, that's the same thing. And then this, so I've made the mistake, well, the mistake I made was Tower said, "Where are you?" when I was coming in. And I mistakenly read my time left as I said 2.5 miles. It was actually 2.5 minutes. 2.5 miles out of it. It might have been the other way. I might have said 35 miles instead of 18 minutes. It was something I did wrong. And of course they don't know. They're just trying to get a general idea of when to expect you.
I've never flown I've only flown a few planes, but I had a few hundred hours, but I've never flown anything that was as easy to keep at altitude.
Yeah, this plane is very easy to land too. You'll find it extremely easy to land until you're dealing with a crosswind because it's so light. And you got that huge tail out there, so there's a lot of rudder, there's a lot of banking into the wind. That's just technique. Plane will do it, it's just a matter of getting the technique down. I swear it's like these guys are flying together. Of course, they're 2 miles apart, so kind of argues against that, but you know what we're doing out here.
Middletown traffic, decathlon 176, 6 miles to the west, inbound for landing, Middletown.
There.
Traffic, 54 Charlie.
So what I just did, I turned on track mode, but did not activate the autopilot. What that turns on is the flight director, which is these purple bars here. So if we were to reach a waypoint and the autopilot wanted us to turn right 30 degrees, here's what it would do.
39175 Juliet, final 37 Medicine.
All right, let's try heading. There it goes. All you have to do, see the 2 yellow bars? It's hard from where you're sitting. Actually, let's do this for a second too. Let's go back. Screen. Map. Okay. So what it wants you to do is turn these little yellow bars until they're underneath the purple bar. And this is going to do your altitude as well. This will also hold your altitude. It's going to hold us at, I've got 3,500 dialed in. So see how we're a little bit below that? It wants me to creep up, and it wants me to get right up against that bar. Now this was set to heading. See, there's our heading bug, so it's going to turn back now. Once we get on course, see how it's turning back?
Yeah.
And what this is telling you, if the autopilot was active, this is what the autopilot would do. That's what it's telling you. So if we go back to nav, which was our direct to, that's going to jump to the left. I said nav. Oops. Nav. There it goes. It goes slowly because the autopilot doesn't just jump. So you just follow that. Now follow that, and it's going to re-intercept this. It's going to take us a little bit beyond where you need to be, and then going to turn you right back onto it once we get across it.
23, Middletown traffic, decathlon 176, entering a right downwind.
Go ahead and bank it. The autopilot. This is what the autopilot would do. So very easy airplane to bank too. But it's not as touchy as the elevators, right? It's a little bit more solid and roll. So yeah, it wants it to go past a little bit. Oh. It's going to re-intercept that because now I've told it I want to be on that nav course. We'll talk about nav and track and heading. See, it's coming back quickly, so it's going to respond.
Oops, it still wants
It's not quite ready. Now it's going. Yeah, it calculates just what it needs to get there. It's really neat stuff. It doesn't go all the way across and come back like a really ancient autopilot would. It knows how to intercept it. Now see, it's telling you you're about 80 feet too low. I want you to just bring the nose up a little bit. There you go. Just like that. And it's going to start rolling you out. You can kind of see that it's going to start rolling you out. So where this would be really handy, and I'm going to go ahead and turn the auto, well, I'm not going to turn the autopilot back on. What did I change? I'm going to leave you on this, that's fine. Just keep doing what you're doing. Oh, I can turn the map back on, that's what it was. There we go. Where that would come in handy is like, if we go up to Cleveland, when you're down under the Class B, I mean, they're really serious about Class B. You get down under a shelf where you need to be at 2,800 feet, and if you get up to 3,000, you're violated.
Yeah.
So if you want to hold this at 2,800 feet, but not trust the autopilot, if it's bumpy or whatever, you can just tell it, I want to be at 2,800 feet, and just follow, all you got to do is follow that flight director, and it's just a quick glance. Am I near the purple? Am I near the purple? It's a little bit easier than decoding the numbers and all that. So you're basically doing exactly what the autopilot would do, but you actually have a little more control. Smooth day like today, that wouldn't be an issue. I probably would use the autopilot, just because so I can be, because you know you're going to have to dial up the ATIS. You're going to have to talk to there's a control tower there. You're going to have to figure out your way to get in and all that. So sometimes the autopilot is nice just to hold it for me while I do a few things, get the frequencies set and all that. So that's how that all works. So we'll go through all this again. The reason it wouldn't let me do track is because I was, no, there's no reason it shouldn't. It would have let me do track. The difference between heading and track is what you're going to do across the ground. Heading is obviously magnetic heading. They're not always the same. So a controller, I should verify this because I haven't flown instruments in 10 years, but back when I was flying instruments, when they gave you a vector, they gave it to you as magnetic. And they were mentally already correcting for the wind for you. If you started following track, you could be 10 to 15 degrees off of what they expected you to do, and all of a sudden you're going where they don't want you to go. So that really makes a difference when you're actually working with vectors and things, or it did. I haven't flown instruments so long I have to revalidate some of the things I think are true. Let me shut this off for a bit. Alright, so we're, what are we, 23 miles out, about 13 minutes out, so let's start looking at the runways. So that's going to be on the map. By definition, that's information we're interested in. And then here's where we went to calm. We're just going to move on over here. Oh, here's our weather, by the way. Wind calm, visibility clear. We knew all that, but 3008 on the altimeter, so that's good news for us. We'll go ahead and put that in. So it's our runway choice, and we have a choice of 4. We have 4 and 2.2 or 16 and 3.4. Can't visualize all that. So another way to do that is when I push this, it becomes a little joystick. Let's go ahead and put on the autopilot for a minute so you can watch all this. Altitude and autopilot and altitude. There we go. Everything's on. GPS is on, and altitude is holding 3,500. That's how you read this. And you want to verify, because sometimes I get the buttons wrong. And I think the autopilot's on. You saw how easy it is in pitch? You think the autopilot is on until you're 100 feet off. It's like, oh, look at that. So this will move us up to wherever we want to go. Here's the runways. So they got these big extended center lines on them. I happen to know that we're going to park right about there. It's either right there or right there. It doesn't matter. We could do a left base to 4. That'd be actually pretty easy. We enter right on the left base for 4. We could cross over, left base for 2.2. It's pretty much all the same.
Left base for 4.
I think left base for 4 is the most efficient. And we can actually, it's way up here. So what we can do, since we've kind of decided that, we could take track and move ourselves out a little bit. I'm just going to go until I see the airport and just fly it. So we got a plan. We're going to make a left downward or left base to 4. Now to get back, see, it's going to stay there. You can't see yourself anymore. Push in on that, and it brings you back to the airplane.
What's that red light?
That means that's that damn spar came on again. That's the same thing it did
when
yesterday.
I pushed on this.
Oh, it shouldn't.
It did.
Oh, but it shouldn't.
I was lifting myself up, and when I did, that's what caused it on.
Yeah, it's one of the worst parts of the design. And I think I may have told you, they don't do it with these magnets anymore. They do it with what they should have done in the first place, which is micro switches. And I could probably retrofit that.
Yes.
Well, I can't get that to work right now. We'll reset it on the ground. I know the pins are in. That says, have you had the wings off recently? No. Well, take a look at them anyway. Yeah, they're still there. Okay. It's kind of like when I check the oil in the morning. I mean, it was in there when I landed. If it's not in there now, it's going to be all over the hangar floor, but you still check the oil. So you still check. But I could update to the newer design.
I think I'm in favor of that.
Yeah. If they're down there, they should work. I agree with that. They were. I don't know if you remember what a pain in the ass.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah. 3 o'clock, turning final runway 23, down, full stop.
I think you did most of that work when I wasn't in the hangar, but I heard a lot about it.
Yeah, that was terrible. So here's another neat little thing. Let's go down to 3,000 feet, just for funsies, right? So the way I bring that down, you would think all you do is turn this to where it says, here's where it's going to reflect, right there. Turn that to 3,000, but you'll note nothing is happening.
Right.
So what I'm really telling it is, I'm going to want to go to 3,000 soon, but I don't want to do it yet. I just want to get that out of the way. When I'm ready, I'm going to say, I'm ready to go down. And that's going to say, I'm descending at 500 foot per minute, that's the default, to whatever the altitude is set at, which is 3,000. We don't really need 500 foot per minute, so down here, if that says VS, that means I can turn that back up a little bit, and I've now put it at, I think, 200. It'll be written down there, so yeah, I'll put it at, where is that? There should be a number that tells me. Anyway, that's about 200. Oh, here it is, 300.
And it's asking you to put in some trim?
Yeah, it'll do that by itself eventually. That just means you're doing it too fast for me. There it went. Now,
does the autopilot control the trim, or is it just overriding?
It does now. It does now. When I bought these, that now controls the trim. But it has a clutch in there. You have to be able to overpower it, right? So it's got a clutch in there. So if you're asking it to do too much, that roll slip, that means your clutch is slipping. That would be a really turbulent day, and that means either help me or just turn me off and do it yourself. It's just too much for these servos in the clutch, so that's what that meant. That little blue arc is where we're going to be on the ground when we get to 3,000 feet. So what you can do is you can kind of tailor your descent to get it, I want to be at pattern altitude right about here. So I could add a little bit of power, and that's going to move away from me. Although we're awfully close to 3,000, so it's not going to move much, but I can make that move that for a little further away. Yeah, it's going to be hard to tell because we're basically almost there. Yeah, see, it thinks we're there now. Gets within 100 feet, calls it done, but that's what that means. And that comes in pretty handy. Like if I'm taking off out of Bolton and I want to get over Rickenbacker, I can point myself at Rickenbacker, set that I need to be at 3,500 or whatever, it's 3,400, and that blue arc will tell me if I'm going to make it or not. If not, I just go around. So that's a handy little thing they added. They're always adding new things, so it's kind of a living system. So what do we got? 14 miles. So let's find out what pattern altitude is. That seems interesting to me right now. So that's map, info. That's going to be right there, 1,900 feet. So what I can do, I can turn this down to 1,900 feet because I know, oops, not that, because I know how bad my memory is. There, 1,900 feet. It's going to remember that for me. I could actually say, let's start down. So down we go.
Where's the little yellow arc?
It's going to come up as soon as we start. As soon as we start doing getting to our descent. It's probably gone back to 500 feet per minute, which I don't want. There we go. Let's see, we're going 1,000 feet. You think that would show? Oh, here it comes.
There it is.
So we want it to be right about there would be good. So we can see we're not going to make that. I'm going to give it a little more throttle. Or I could take a little bit out, I can actually take a little out of vertical speed. Maybe I don't want to be going faster because I'm getting ready to land. So let's make our vertical speed 200. And that'll bump it out a little bit. And that's looking pretty good. That's about 5 miles. 3 miles, something like that. It's enough we'll be able to see the airport. And it's going to vary, with up and down drafts. But that's pretty good indication. I like that. We'll just leave it like that. The other thing we'll do this thing can do now is I can do, when I pick a direct to, I can also then pick direct to which runway. And what that'll do is we're in altitude hold right now, which is a version of vertical nav. It just kind of ups and downs. We have a vertical nav function. So I can set a direct to this airport, runway 4, and then I would set a direct to, I need to do this to get online with the runway, I would set a direct to somewhere outside of this intersection, and I have told it, when you get there, what I want you to do, this is very configurable, I want you to descend to 800 AGL and get there 2 miles short of the approach end of the runway. So from there, it's either straight in or I can go into a left downwind if the wind's going the other way. And it's like an ILS. I could set it to go right down to the ground at 0 feet from the end of the runway. That would be suicidal. But it would be more like an ILS would work. That gets you down to about 200 before you get your missed approach. So I mean, it's kind of a poor man's ILS. I have used it. I've used it on days when I turn to the runway heading and I'm going into the sun and it's hazy and the runway just disappears. It's not IFR, but I still can't see the runway. It's very handy for that. It'll get you down to where, oh, there it is, right there in front of me. Can't possibly miss it. It's a really neat little feature. When it gets to that 800 feet, it levels off and just goes down the runway. So So that's what you would do on a non-precision approach. You go down to your minimum descent, cruise along, you either see the runway or you don't. If you don't, you go around and go somewhere else. It's a very neat feature. But it's kind of particular. It took me a lot of effort to try to get reliable at being able to get it to work. Because I didn't have altitude on first, so I wasn't in VNAV mode. It didn't know what to do and things like that. But if you practice it, you get it. This happens when I get down low. It reflects us as traffic. It sees itself in the mirror. I don't know why. We're getting a little low. I'm going to push that blue bar out a little bit with a little bit of throttle. But we're going to level off at 19 anyway. Actually, press hand fly it from here, I think.
Autopilot. Disconnect.
So I'm going to have to let people know we're here, even though there's nobody here, presumably. We are 8 miles, at about 6 miles west. I'm going to call that we're going to make a left base entry to runway 4.
Middletown traffic, Air Coupe 909er 217
Air Coupe.
is
I like those.
7 miles northeast inbound Middletown.
Middletown traffic, from Mile 518 to Lehman, about 5 miles north inbound landing Middletown.
And Middletown traffic, what runway are we using, sir?
I'm using both 28 and 23. I was going to go into 28. I'm going to enter a right downwind, land 28.
Zanesville traffic, experimental 284 Delta Golf, 6 miles west, inbound left base runway 4, Zanesville.
Water's up. The river's way up. Right up on the banks. Zanesville's a neat looking town from the air. Alright, airport should be that big open spot out in front of us. 5 miles away. It's just catty corner out because I'm aiming a little bit to the right so we can make that downwind. Oh, there's a neat place on the river there. The frontage on that building is weird.
Yeah.
I've driven down that road. I had to drive down there when I was going to have to sell that RV kit for that the guy that didn't quite live long enough to finish his plane. I went out and sold. The widow didn't know how to sell the kit. I drove out there a couple times. It was out here somewhere. I actually flew out here to give him a ride.
Tower's fairly close.
I'm glad he got a ride. At least got a ride in one.
Yeah.
I felt so bad about that. That poor guy.
So our altitude is...
Yeah, we're going to be going down to 1900. We're at 2000.
There we go.
We're going to drop another 100 feet when we get, basically in the pattern.
So
You can see the airport, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
How high was that tower we just saw?
Well, under us, or it would have shown up here, it would have shown here, and it would have shown here as bright red.
It was definitely under us.
When you're sitting on the ground at Bolton, even the light poles show up because helicopters care.
Yeah.
I mean, it shows everything, but it doesn't show you if you don't need it. It's set to, if it's like within 100 feet, it shows red. If it's within, I think 500 feet, it shows yellow. If it's below that, we don't care.
Medina traffic, Cherokee 17.
Oh, Medina. It's way up by Cleveland.
3 miles to the northwest, inbound 27.
Now we need to get slowed down for flap speed.
Did you say what airport?
Please use caution. There's skydiving operations all day at the Middletown Airport.
Skydiving in Middletown, that's what it is. Were you asking something?
Yeah, I was asking if he said what airport he was at.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't catch it. Was that Middletown too?
Yeah. Medina's the only other one I've heard. May have been another one. So the one where I see the approach right there, kind of perched on the hill there?
Yeah,
That's the one we're after.
Yeah, there's the cleared piece at the after the end of the runway, and then there's the turnaround, and
You got the two of them. So we're about a 2 mile left base.
Zanesville traffic, experimental 284 Delta Golf, 2 mile left base, runway 4, full stop, Zanesville. 7 Medina.
All right, flaps are going to come down. This has a pronounced nose down effect. Watch this. Wonk. Now, you can do it slower and it won't do that, but it's not nearly as fun. Oh, Mr. Vertical Video. Just say no to vertical video. What is it with you people? Got anybody out there? Nope, there's nobody around. This is tricky because, it's pilot's choice, right? You got 4 different choices here. They could be coming from anywhere. That's the trick with calm. I mean, I like landing in calm air, but you just never know where other people are going to be. Go clear, 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 clear. This was the prototype for West Virginia airports, you know, where they just cut the top off a mountain. This was a trial, and it's just a tiny little, but it does dips right off the ends of the runway. You're just like, it's almost like a carrier deck. The kind of runways you feel like you could fly all day on. These things are huge. Now that wasn't perfect. Started out, looked like it was going to be a good one.
Really just went down a little hard, that was all.
All right, let's get some air. I can't do that still can't do that by feel. There we go. That new bar that holds it from blowing up. I can't do that by feel yet. That was one of the best $3 parts I ever bought. Keeps the canopy from flying. They had canopies were flying up, like when you were doing a run up. I think one of them he was doing a run up and the wind caught it just wrong and it threw it up. It broke the bars and got into the propeller.
Ow.
So this thing, because people, you know, this is very common with an RV, you set it up on this tab to get some air in here. They put this little restraint on here so you can do that without it, you know, blowing off of there.
That means they had an engine tear down,
Oh, yeah.
new propeller, everything.
Well, you don't need an engine tear down because of the gearbox. There's a clutch in that gearbox. That's a nice thing about a road tax. But when that clutch goes bad, it's no longer a nice thing, but it's still cheaper than a tear down. It's a nice little engine. I really like it. Except when I don't. That sprayed clutch was issue. Now, you know, who puts the starter relay inside the engine at the very back where you can get to pull the engine off? That's why I got that engine hoist.
Yeah.
Just because someday I'm going to have to pull that engine off again. Actually, I have a job right now that I could do. Those isolators.
Those isolators, yeah.
I probably should have done that when I knew I was going to be balancing the carbs again.
Well, you're going to be balancing them again, so.
Well, that's true. That is true.
Ooh. Lancer.
Lancer, I know. They're gorgeous, aren't they?
Yeah.
All right, I got to turn this off or it corrupts the file. He doesn't like, you know, propellers. He's a jet pilot.
You'll have to look at the tables too, where those two lamps are on. The tables are airplane shaped. You have to walk around there to look at them.
I'll check in a second. That's cool.
I've always said this is one of the prettiest FBOs I ever go to. Those I might be able to sneak past. She wouldn't even notice those.
I kind of like the ceiling fans.
And they're really quiet and smooth too. I don't know.
It's a soccer room. Looks kind of grim. Kind of a stony demeanor. Hard to read.
Oh, see the logo on it? The Indian?
Mm-hmm.
That might be. Yeah.
There it goes. Okay, so we got 5 degrees on Noel. We got that guy that's coming in from, I think he was coming in from the west. We'll hear where he's going. I don't know what runway he wants to use. Doesn't really matter. It's really our choice. We'll just wait until we figure out what he's going to do. For now, we're going to just go down to 2-2 because that's the opposite of where we came in. And it's probably going to be good enough. And we won't be in anybody's way. We can go ahead and put in our direct 2. So that's going to be related to, well, this message is that I need to test the battery. It just, you do that once every, I don't know, half a year, I think. So I'll do that. It just runs itself down. And
is that the backup battery?
Yeah, it's the backup battery for this. You want to test it every now and then. Make sure it's got its full 45 minutes. So our destination is going to require the use of the map. So that's going to be the map button. Direct 2 is very hard to miss. And it's just direct 2. Now we can dial in KTZR, but we were there recently, so I can actually go back to the recent list, and there it is. Once you've got that selected, it's just direct 2. Then I like to try to remind myself to always go back up to the top, so I'm always starting at the top menu. I'm not 100% compliant with that, but it's a good idea, a good habit to get into. That way, you're always starting from the same place. You're not a menu or 2 deep. So that gave us our direct 2, which, as we know, isn't going to get us around the Class C, but we'll figure that out in the air. We can zoom out a little bit and see. But we still don't have any weather information. That's why it's purple. It doesn't have weather information yet. We're kind of far away from a station. Once we get in the air, it'll pick that up. But we don't really need it either. So, yeah, exactly. So, but, you know, just in general, that's what, you could get a good, kind of a very broad view of the weather that way, at least precipitation. And that'll chirp up in a bit. Oh, let's see. We're making amps. That's good. If that's ever negative, it means you're not making power, and it's just time to shut it down. That's how I ended up breaking that starter clutch.
Where's the amp?
Right there. You get 4 amps. When my regulator went bad, it started draining, and I flew it. I can't remember if I flew it or not, but basically what happened was by the time I got the regulator repaired or replaced, the battery was kind of half strong. So when I tried to start it again, it wasn't strong enough. It's a high compression engine. It kicked back. And it takes about 2 of those kickbacks to break that sprayed clutch. And that's inside the engine, and that was very, very expensive. So lesson learned there is if you do replace your voltage regulator, make sure you charge up your battery before you try to start your airplane, which should have been obvious to me, but wasn't. So we're ready to go. We just need to pick a runway. We've decided on runway 22. There's nobody to call. We're just going to go on out and do it. So now to get it going, you might want to, well, we'll drive around Bolton one day. It's not a steerable nose wheel.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of technique to how you use the brakes without actually stopping the airplane and all that. And it's easier to
just... the pedals the brake?
Huh?
Is the top of the pedals the brake?
Yeah, it's their toe brakes.
Okay.
And we'll drive around Bolton one morning and you can get a feel for it, because it does take a while. It's one of the hardest things about it to get used to.
Zanesville traffic 454, crosswind for 22.
Oh, good. That was our choice too. So that's going to work out.
He's down there.
Yeah, he's way down there. Well, it's going to take us a while to get down here. So we'll probably end up just waiting for him. It's hard to say. So here, it's just I'm just lightly touching the left brake, just very lightly. Because if you jab at it, you're going to slow the plane down.
Woo, I felt that.
It's like this, it's pretty easy. It's when you're making a turn and it's kind of a tight turn, so you're jabbing at the brake. You're also not going very fast because you're making a tight turn. It's easy to get the airplane stopped. It's much harder to get it started again because you got that wheel over here like this and you're jamming on the throttle, pounding on the brake, trying to get it to go. And that's how I burned out the wheel bearing. And it's a press fit bearing. I had to get a hydraulic press to put a new bearing in and all that. So it takes a while to learn, but I think after like 2 hours or so, you just forget all about it. You're just used to it again. And you don't have a whole lot to unlearn because it's been so long. So you're not really used to having a steerable nose wheel anyway, which will help. I see how that's gone to the full green now. We're ready to go as far as the oil temperature. He's not even midfield yet, is he? Get ready to go in case we have a gap here. We'll just be ready to go. Okay, that's mag check. Haven't heard him call downwind yet. So we're just going to roll and go.
Zanesville traffic, experimental 284, Delta Golf departing runway 22.
I still don't see him. Must be way out there. There he is. He's not even midfield. Up that way, other side of the runway. Over there. He's not even
Zanesville traffic 454, downwind for 22.
So we're going to be long gone. I hold the stick back. As soon as the nose starts to come up, that means I can start steering with the rudder instead of the brakes. So as soon as you feel that stick pressure, there's enough air, and you don't really want to be dragging the brakes on takeoff. It's kind of counterproductive. So you're just trying to get a feel for when the rudder has become effective. Well, if the nose will come up, that's enough air to start using the rudder. So yeah. So you just you get a feel for that too. It feels like it wants to climb like a bat out of hell because it wants to climb like a bat out of hell. And this is nuts.
Left downwind, runway 27.
Well, it's runway 27. It's not here, so we don't care about that one. If you ever have a problem coming out of here, you got another runway right there. You don't even have to make a full 180. Well, or that one. I mean, the nice thing about cross runways is you don't have to make that full amazing turn. Because there's no place to go out here. You really want to get back to a runway. Okay, you want to fly it?
Sure.
I got you right about 85 knots. We can continue to climb right around this. Just take us up to 3,500, and there's your course line.
Where's the rate of climb meter? All right, down there.
Yep. Yeah, we're not in any hurry as long as you're climbing. I mean, it's got a nice cruise climb going here. We're doing 90 knots and still climbing at 500 foot per minute. That's pretty generous in pretty much anybody's book.
Airspeed?
Airspeed is over here. You got 93, 94, 95. It doesn't stall until about 48. Very hard to stall this one.
Here's AT2 Tower Pop with turning left base, runway 27.
Oh, wrong way.
That dot right there, I think, is that tower. It's just not, it's right here. It's still yellow because we're still low. It's far enough away that Strawberry's, it's right there. Right there, that yellow one. Now that'll turn, that'll go away. When we get 1,000 feet above it, that'll just completely disappear. And then there's another one. There's a bunch of them out there. Those all go away as soon as we get up high.
Holmes County, here's AT2 Tower Papa turning final, runway 27.
Field traffic, flight design 566 Foxtrot Delta, 9 miles northeast, inbound for stop and go, Clinton Field.
Unicom busy today.
Down to traffic, Wallace 469 Alpha Foxtrot, left base, 27 the time. Middletown traffic, Earth operation, 1 minute. Use caution, please, Flight Director, flight field.
There, jumping, there, it disappeared, see? Now we're 1,000 above it. Or 500, I might have that set to 500.
Left base, 27, full stop.
Nice thing is you can configure this to anything you want it to do. If you need air, that's your vent. You can just kick that vent open right down there.
Ooh,
yeah.
That's a lot of air.
That's not a traffic here, gauge, so you're at the final, 27, full stop.
What altitude do you want to go to?
Let's do 35. We'll just go right over Rickenbacker again. I think you need 34 to get over it. Now, I'll show you how to find out. We're going to zoom out. And there's the class, well, we want Rickenbacker's class D, not the class C. That's right there. So if I come out here and just hover this little crosshair over it, it's going to tell me. It's 3,000, so we only need 3,000 to get over that. I give a little bit of a buffer just because, so 32, 35, anything like that will get us right over the top of that. Now we still have to go around, we're still going to go, you have to go down to about 2,200 to stay under the Class C, and I don't like being that low over the city, so we're still going to go around the Class C, but we'll go right over Rickenbacker, save us all of like 38 seconds or so. So he should be right.
62 Romeo, just keep your turn to final square to give it a little bit of spacing, and your number 2
does care a little bit.
22 clear to land.
He's close. Yeah, 2,500 feet above, we ought to be able to see him. He's got to be right over us.
Road on short final.
Roger, 62 Romeo, we have the...
There he is, right up there, straight, 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock high, there he is. Now see, now he's 2,500 above us, that puts him at 6,000, so he's IFR. He may just fly right on over. He may not, he must be transitioning through. His only other choice would be, he could be on a kind of an extended left base for Columbus. But he's got a lot of altitude to lose. Alright, so we're at 3,500, we're almost to the Lancaster, I'm sorry, to the Rickenbacker class Delta. It's looking like we can reset our direct to right when we get over, pretty much over the runways. That'll take us straight back to Bolton. Or you can hand fly it, really. You can just fly around the corner if you want to.
Back to parking via
I don't mean right now, but just in general. And you could call, I mean, we could go right through their Class D. They would answer and they wouldn't care at all. But we don't need to be that low yet anyway. Just stay on up here and just cross on over. It gets a nice view of the runway and whatever airplanes they may have sitting there. Sometimes they have KC-135 sitting there. A lot of times FedEx planes. All right, so we're well within and above. Now, if I had been too low, if we were actually going to encroach this airspace, what it's telling me right now is 400 feet below you is Class D airspace. It would have said 1 mile in front of you, this would have been red, I think, there's Delta airspace. You need to do something about that. This is telling me it's under there. If we were to turn right and go straight at that Class C, that would pop up real quick. You got a Class C right in front of you. So that's very handy also, knowing all that special use airspace that you're around. That came in, that's only about a year old. That just showed up after one of the updates.
2, report 2 miles out. Wind is 190 at 07, altimeter 3007.
3007, of course it sounds like I got 2 airplanes there.
22, report 3 miles out, 5 kilo Bravo.
I think these guys will be on the ground by the time we get there, but we'll start monitoring what they're doing so I know where he's going to fit me in. He's going to ask me to report a midfield left downwind for runway 22.
When do you start descending?
Huh?
When do you start descending?
As soon as I get off the top of this Class D, because we got to be 3,000. So I could jump ahead a little bit. There's a guy that's in it right there. I could jump it a little bit as long as I don't go below 3,000, but there's just no hurry. He may be left downwind below us for one of these runways. He's only at 1,000 feet. Oh, I'm sorry, 2,000 feet, which is, or 1,500 MSL, which is probably pattern altitude down there. So he's going to be out there on probably on a left downwind for Rickenbacker. Oh, we're just going to ignore him. I'm going to go ahead and see if the direct to is ready to go. So we can do the direct to, so now I can just hit nav. He's disappeared now. He's too low for us to even see him on the radar anymore. Whatever or wherever he was. Pick him up out here turning base somewhere.
Oh, I finally figured out we're flying over Rickenbacker, but
yes,
staying clear of Fort Columbus.
Right. The difference is in the way that circle is drawn.
Yeah.
I don't see him out there on base either, but he'd be down low. Lower. I always like to see them, I mean, even if they disappear, just as kind of a practice, because it's hard to find them even when you know where to look. And I'm really not very good at it.
You need a display in your glasses that shows you where to look.
Yeah, that'd help. I mean, the most common thing is I'm direct to A and somebody else is direct to B and we're right online. That's where that really comes in handy because you know that guy's going to hit you. He's right there at your altitude going the same, opposite direction. So that's where I'll move over and run parallel. Seeing a guy 1,500 feet below me that's probably landing is not really essential, but it's good practice. I just have so much trouble picking him out of the clutter.
So Bolton's 10 in front of us.
Yep. So we're going to give him a call probably at about 6. We can start descending. I mean, right now I could say I want to go down to 3,000.
25 Kilo Bravo, 3 mile right base, runway 22.
And we'll add 100 to that. We'll make that 3,100.
Still over.
Yes, but see, this is going to tell me when we will be at 3,100, right? So all it has to do is outside of that line, and we're good to go. So it looks like we're going maybe a little too much descent. It's kind of tapering off, tapering off, tapering off, tapering off. I'm going to take off a little bit of the vertical speed. I'll make that about 300 or 200 and get that blue arc back outside of the Class D.
Which is not yet.
Well, it will be. And the worst case is I just say, well, let's just stop this. Let's turn off the autopilot and we'll hand fly it. There, see, that took care of it.
Yep.
So we're at a good 3,300 or something. A little more than, about 3,300. We only need 3,000, so we're good. We're just about to the edge. And I'm going to give them a call 6 miles east. If I say east, they might clear me into a left base. Because we're not actually east, we're kind of southeast. I think I'll give them southeast. Because what I want them to do is have me just enter on a 45 and report a midfield left downwind. I don't want to have to scooch you all the way up there and make a big old left base. And it really is south. It's more southeast than it is east, so that's fair.
You can always request that too.
I can do whatever. Yeah. I mean, I try to game the system so I know what to expect them to do.
Yeah.
It's just, why wouldn't I? Because it makes it easier. So we're 7 miles. I'm going to go give him a call.
Bolton Tower, experimental 284 Delta Golf is 7 miles southeast, inbound landing.
Experimental 4 Delta Golf, Bolton Tower, enter left downwind, runway 22, report midfield. Wind is 190.08, altimeter 3006.
Enter left downwind, runway 22, report midfield, 4 Delta Golf.
If I know what they're going to say, if I can game it, I can just get it out. If I have to think about it for a minute, like if he'd have said, sometimes he wouldn't have corrected himself. He'd have gone ahead and said, report right down or 22. I know he doesn't want me to cross over. There's no reason for me to cross over. I can't even think of one. So in that case, I would say confirm right downwind 22, and he'd say, no, I'm sorry, I meant left downwind. It happens a lot. So here I'm just going to manage the speed down into the 90s because we're going to have to get down to flap speed anyway. And we need to come down at the same time, so we're just pulling back a lot of throttle.
What's our pattern altitude?
It's 1800 here.
1300?
18.
1800.
Let's go ahead and dial it in. That's good practice. Info, it's going to be on, it's on the top page.
22, report midfield.
1704.
190.08, altimeter.
So we'll go ahead and make our altitude 1700. Even though we're not using the autopilot, it gives me a target. I should be listening here.
56315.
Some of those might wind up being talking to us.
Enter 315, Tower.
315 is off of Columbus Southwest, like the transition back to downtown Columbus.
With the numbers.
We're going to have a banner tow coming across.
Transition to the Bolton Class Delta airspace approved.
Approved as requested.
Here comes my warning.
6315.
Design 5 Kilo Bravo, taxi parking Alpha.
Oh, I think he's going to warn me about this banner tow eventually.
Alpha and Charlie, 5 Kilo Bravo.
Maybe not.
Supposed to pour Quebec Foxtrot as you get closer to the downwind. Watch for banner tow traffic.
Okay. That's the yellow plane. That's Yellow Thunder.
Copy that.
As we get closer, we might get the same thing. The thing about the banner tow is they're easy to see because they're towing a banner.
Is that the Vaneco?
It could be. It could very well be because that's where Columbus Southwest is. It's just off out there. He's climbing. He's 500 feet below. Puts him at less than 2,000 climbing. So there he is. See the banner?
I see it.
Always easier to find the banner than the tow.
Much. It really stands out.
Yeah. But they are slow. They stay there for a long time. Like a hot air balloon. Not quite that slow, but.
Now, where's the other
you
plane?
get my point.
Where's the other plane he was telling you the banner tow about?
He was landing. He may already be on the ground. I don't need 1700 quite yet, so I'm going to keep a couple hundred in the bank. I mean, if something happened right now, we got right there to land.
207 Bolton ground, runway 22, taxi via Bravo and Alpha. Wind is 180 at 07, altimeter 3006.
Boy, that keeps changing. It must be right on the, rounding up, rounding down line.
Small 207, watch for flight design traffic coming through the main ramp, just about to turn the corner around the...
Good, I thought he was going to call me out as a flight design. I'd have been offended. Does look like an egg with a string out the back. They're goofy looking things. All right, there's airplane there, airplane there. Banner tow's easy. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of scooch in. I generally will call midfield while I've got the wings up in a turn. Makes me easier to see. I hate that whole not in sight, clear to land thing. So I try to make sure they see me. And that's coming up here. And I got to remember to say midfield left, not midfield right, because he got that stuck in my head.
And both Tower 284 Delta Golf is turning midfield entry for left downwind runway 22.
Experimental 4 Delta Golf, runway 22, clear to land.
Clear to land 22, 4 Delta Golf.
See, they didn't have any trouble seeing me. It was worse with the 6. They could just not see me in that little tiny airplane, but then it was real easy to get that up like in an 80-degree bank and show them that wing. And they could always, once I got that wing up there, they could see that. Wonder what's going on downtown.
Pride.
Huh?
Pride.
Oh yeah, we went to that one year accidentally, I remember.
Yes, we did.
That would have been the same as the Cobra weekend, because we went out to the Cobra cars, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's next week, so they're apparently not on the same cycle. Now that tower, I see the red out there, it's just a blip of red. That means we're within 100 feet of that big ass tower out there. We're actually probably at level with or below it. All right. I used to be able to make that first turn off, but they moved it so far down the runway now it's not even a challenge. They moved Alpha 3 because they wanted to get they had some funding to get the runway fixed up a little bit. Well, when the feds come in and look at that, they look at everything.
Tower, Skyhawk 734, Quebec Foxtrot on right downwind for 22.
That's Port Quebec Foxtrot, your number 2,
I don't see him.
following experimental traffic.
Be out there somewhere.
The left base to final at this time.
Copy that, we got the traffic, Port Quebec Foxtrot.
I'm glad he sees us.
Where's he?
He'll be on right downwind because he's touch and go. I forget what I was saying, but it's not important.
Yes, that's Port Quebec Foxtrot, number 2 following that experimental.
They moved Alpha 3 because they didn't want a taxiway that fed straight into a runway, which makes a lot of sense. You could so many accidental runway incursions from that. So they moved Alpha 3 way down there. So now I have to land long on this one too, so we don't spend all day taxiing down there.
No other reported traffic up to the north through exchange.
Quebec Fox is probably touch and go if he's right traffic, so I'm going to land about halfway down and get off the runway for him. No sense taxiing all the way down there. This is actually probably too soon. That was a better landing though.
Very nice.
Didn't even feel that one. We'll scooch on down here and get out of that guy's way. Scooch is a somewhat technical term that I use. Let me know if it gets to be too much for you. It's an aviation term. All right. Right Alpha 3.
Terminal 4 Delta Golf, exit there at Alpha 3, taxi parking via Alpha and Charlie.
Right Alpha 3, Alpha to Charlie, depart 4 Delta Golf.
Not monitored ground on 0.8 today, Christine. I'm going to do it anyway because that's how I remember not to call tower next time I start the airplane.
There's the one on the yellow plane.
Yep. Yellow Thunder. I always got a kick out of calling a Cessna 172 Thunder. Nothing thunderous about a 172. Okay, well, that's it. I'll turn this thing off and taxi on back.